So, pick one. It's currently with the West Coast Eagles. It really can't go anywhere else unless they were to trade it to someone like they did with pick 3 last year. We're assuming, I know that there actually are rumours, of course, that the Gold Coast Suns could be doing a deal, but we're going to assume that that's not going to happen. We're just going to go with West Coast having pick 1, and we're going to go with West Coast having pick 2 for that Oscar Allen compensation, which is theoretical.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we just think that's a bit more realistic to incorporate some free agency picks. So are we going to assume that Oscar Allen's gone? I think he's gone. It's just a matter of the compensation. I think it's more likely band 1 than anything. And then you have to assume that TDK is probably more than 50-50 to leave Carlton.
Yep. So we've added that in
We've added that in, which gives Carlton a band 1 compensation because that's going to be a big contract. And that would actually, for those listening at home, that pick would be after their first nominal pick, which is currently tied to Hawthorn. So Carlton will have a first-round draft pick in this scenario that will be linked to their own ladder position, but it comes 1 pick after what Hawthorn have. Yeah, which I don't know off the top of my head what that is.
So this is where the draft gets really nice and complicated. Carlton also have a really highly touted father-son in this draft too. So if they were to get their hands on that compensation pick, they would have to trade this pick away, which I've done in theory as well when we get to it. But what I want to start with is
doing trades. Yeah.
What I'm going to start with here is Jesse picking West Coast's number 1 pick. Who do you think they're going to go for? Who do you want them to go for? And then I'm going to give my 2 cents on it as well.
All right, wait. Let's establish the rules here. Am I picking both West Coast picks?
Yeah, you can do.
Okay, and then
we'll just talk it through.
All right.
So I will give my opinion.
Okay. So my gut feeling is that West Coast will not go for the consensus top 2 picks, which are Cooper. Well, it's actually Zeke Yuland.
What are you taking as a consensus here? Like Toomey power ranking?
I look at Toomey. I look at Rookie Me. I look at ESPN.
Yeah.
I look at Dylan Alexander, who is actually very good in this space as well. Just some nerd. I don't think West Coast go for Willem Dersma. I hope that they don't. I think they'll be looking more for a genuine midfielder. I think Cooper Duff-Tyler also holds some risks. So I'm going to piss off a lot of people here and pick who I think West Coast will/should take, which is not the consensus ranking. If I get to have both, then I will probably take Dyson Sharp first. I know that's a huge long shot because there are some people that rate Dyson Sharp late first round at this point, maybe second round. That is some of the things I'm hearing, Dylan. But I'm looking at offsetting our 2 selections here.
Okay.
I think if you eliminate Dersma, the academy talents, Cooper Duff-Tyler, then I think West Coast go Dyson Sharp, who I believe I've read that they have some liking to, as a somewhat limited inside midfielder. He's athletically limited, but performatively, he is a very good clutch leader midfielder, first use kind of stoppage player that West Coast desperately need. And while I'm not necessarily married to this idea, I think that is who I would take in this scenario. Dylan, I know your opinion and you don't approve of this, but I would like to hear you say it again.
That's the number 1 pick then?
Yeah.
So you're going Dyson?
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't have taken Dyson if you had the second pick for West Coast.
I get that. Okay. I actually agree with everything that you've said. I think, we've said it a few times tonight. Like Dyson Sharp has that dog in him.
Yeah.
He's that sort of a player. You said that he's athletically capped. I think he's probably like adequate athletically. I would say. So I don't think that's a major issue. I think this works for West Coast given, and we've talked about it a bit in the fact that they don't really have that nominal first possession player right now. So there's, potentially down the track, you've got like Elijah Hewitt in there. You've got Harley Reid in there. You've got a few players rotating through there like Brady Hoff that is a 50-50 midfielder, Bo Allen, Tom Gross, these sorts of players. But I think Dyson Sharp can come in and actually perform really well. So I actually agree with you. If I was West Coast, would I do this? Not necessarily. But I think most likely with these top 2 picks, and I'm semi-jumping ahead here, I think they'll probably take Willem Dersma and Dyson Sharp with the opening 2 picks. I think that's the most likely thing that will happen.
My argument against Dersma is we have tended to go for these athletic types that are not proven midfielders, and I just have questions a little bit about Dersma's contested game and his ball use. I feel like he's a very linear player, great aerially,
Yeah.
But part of it is personal preference. Part of it is also hearing a little bit of scuttlebutt. West Coast aren't super sold on Dersma. Dyson Sharp fits the bill of what West Coast would go for more.
So who do you think they would pair Dyson Sharp with?
I have no intel on this other than to say I'm going to pick who I want, and I'm going to take Sam Cumming with the second selection. He has bolted up the rankings. It is a bolt again because he's not considered by anyone to be top 5. But let me talk you through my process. Considering I've kind of eliminated Dersma and Cooper Duff-Tytler, and I've taken the other established midfielder in Sharp, I can't go for Yuland and I can't go for Daniel Annabelle. I want to get the next best midfielder. I considered Josh Lindsay, who is not truly a midfielder, but Sam Cumming, I think his attributes, his ability as that sort of endurance midfielder who can impact and step up to what we've seen him step up to the sample level in recent times and really make a name for himself. And I would love him to bolt up the rankings and justify this pick. But Sharp and Cumming, in my opinion, suit West Coast needs in a fairly even talent pool with knocks on every single candidate there. That is who I'm pairing. What do you think about that?
So I love Sam Cumming. He's one of my favourite players in this draft. My issue with looking at West Coast and the full midfield complement that they have already, I feel like Cumming is a little bit, on his own, is a little bit too similar to Harley Reid, which is going to sound crazy. I don't mean he's too similar to him. Harley Reid's a better version, but it's the same type of player. Like,
I know what you mean.
Archetypically, I think it's that like forward mid where they like aerially a threat, good, very contest dominant. I think if Sam Cumming can get elevate to like one of those really good outside type players, I think that's where he would have a point of difference on someone like Harley Reid, and they would complement. But I do think that they're more likely to go for, like you said off the top, like more likely a kicker like Lindsay or a utility outside type midfielder, more of a transition type midfielder like Dersma.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. So I
don't mind it.
So I'm giving you the picks. So you're taking Sharp into Sam Cumming.
Yeah.
But that would be my opinion on it. I think more likely when the draft comes around, I think you're probably looking at, I still think there's a world where they would look at a Cooper Duff-Tytler, although I do feel that is a risk given that he's a ruck and he's from Melbourne.
Yeah.
I think that comes into it as well.
I also don't think West Coast hold the second pick come draft night.
You reckon they'll trade it off?
Yeah.
There's a world where that happens as well. So we've got number 1, Dyson Sharp.
Yep.
This is a very South Australian flavour.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I know that it will buck the trend, and I know a lot of people won't like it, but I am sick to death of West Coast not picking midfielders. And I'm sticking with it.
I've definitely softened my stance a little bit on Dyson Sharp. Like after the champs, you always want to have that review where you kind of go back over things. And I think like when you actually watch him play and you're looking at what he is, one of my sort of first thoughts on Dyson Sharp was that he was more of this sort of defensive type midfielder. Like he'd probably be like a row bottom, maybe a Warple type player.
Yep.
I think there's a world where he can sort of go to be like a Matt Rowell. I think that would be the ceiling for someone like a Dyson Sharp, but definitely a high floor player.
Yeah.
Low ceiling. So pick 3 then.
Yeah, so let's give you both of Richmond's 2 picks. Also, if you bid on a player, I decide whether we match.
Yep.
And vice versa. And then the pick goes back to you. So let's say you have 2 Richmond picks now.
So straight away, I'm throwing a bid for Richmond.
Zeke Yuland?
Zeke Yuland.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll let you have him. No, I'm just kidding. There's no scenario where Gold Coast let this go.
No.
Tell me a little bit about Zeke Yuland. He's been injured a lot, hasn't he?
He's been injured all season. A strange one, it's a back stress fracture, which has kept him out. So I think it's just been like a pain thing, and they've kind of been taking a conservative approach with it. But probably the best performed player in this crop across the bottom age year. A lot of similarities and a lot of similar traits to someone like an Errol Goulden with the kicking, the outside play that he has. Probably has a little bit more physicality to him and has that sort of leadership quality to him. So I think can go into the midfield and be a dominant inside clearance player, but then also get the ball in transition. Can play across any line as well. So you could play him as a halfback flanker, someone to move the ball from there, go into the forward half of the ground, wins contests. So he's, in some ways, I think he's probably the most balanced all-round midfielder in this group of being able just to do everything very competently or above average. You know what I mean? With his kicking, it's a high level. with his stoppage stuff, it's to an above average level. Good physicality and just like a good competitor, really. I think like if you look at the way that his brother plays at the Gold Coast already, it's sort of an insight into the type of character that he is as well.
Yeah, nice. So Gold Coast get Zeke Yuland at pick 3. I just want to ask, if West Coast had the first 2 picks and the academy system did not exist and Yuland was available to them and Patterson was available to them and Annabelle was available to them, which 2 picks would you go? You don't have to justify it too deeply. We can move on, but I just want to know.
I would go... So West Coast have the top 2 picks?
Yeah, so let's just say it's a purely open pool draft, like just to get a feel for where Yuland and Patterson and Adensall and all that would go.
I would say Yuland 1 or 2.
Yep.
Currently. Patterson 2 or 3.
So you could see, like, if you're West Coast, you go Yuland and Patterson. Yeah, right. Interesting.
They're probably, like, on some level, they're probably a little bit similar, those 2 players. Like, they're both kind of midfielders that can play halfback because of their speed. Dylan Patterson's absolutely rapid. More of a pure halfback that goes into the midfield, where Yuland's probably midfield that goes halfback. So he's kind of got that. I think that's what puts Yuland slightly above. But, yeah, Patterson is trait-ridden.
Yeah. Cool.
To say the least.
All right, so Richmond back on the clock, and I think I know who one of these picks will be. But
so this complicates.
Actually, I know who both of these picks will be.
This complicates it for me because of the fact that I had Dersma and Sharp.
I know. I've really cooked this
to the West Coast Eagles. So
I just don't think West Coast end up with those players. But continue.
I think in this scenario, I still think that Richmond would take Willem Dersma.
Yeah.
They would just go, okay, he's fallen through the cracks. They don't, as much as they have some point of difference midfielders, like they've got Taj Houghton, they've got
Smiley and Lawler.
So if you're looking at that sort of midfield build, you're going Sam Lawler, the forward mid,
yep.
Dusty Martin type.
Yep.
You've got Josh Smiley, first possession, sort of clearance beast, Tom Green style. Taj Houghton's probably that fast-footed, fleet of foot. Probably on one hand could be like a Zach Buttersy type player, Isaac Rankin.
Classy.
It's whether he's going to be like a midfielder or whether he's going to be like a small forward, I think.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like could go either way there. So I think there's an openness here where they could take Dersma as a little bit, again, like I said with West Coast, like a transition type player. He can start at halfback. Best case scenario, he ends up being a Nasiah Wanganeen Millerer with the traits. And I think like floor, he's a halfback flanker with a lot of athleticism and some good traits.
Yeah. I think that makes sense for Richmond to take that risk.
Yeah. And I think they, like where they are on the clock, I think that would sort of make sense. And then with their next pick, again, I think they could bid here. Most, like historically speaking, I think most teams take, like if they have back-to-back picks, they take one bid.
Yeah.
It actually usually comes with the second pick, so that's probably a little bit out of line. But I think they'd probably go... I'm 50-50 on this because I think they would love a player like Sam Grill or Josh Lindsay. Ball use and speed is something that they'd love to get in there. But do you let a player like Cooper Duff-Tytler go?
Well, I mean, if you look at their ruck stocks, who is it? There's like Mate Kalina.
Yeah.
Thomas Sims is a forward ruck. So I think whichever way you slice it, he diversifies from those options, right?
That's the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, though. Because it depends what you see Cooper Duff-Tytler as. If you see him as a forward ruck, they just drafted Sims. So do they want two of that same sort of player?
They're different to each other, though, right?
They're definitely... Cooper Duff-Tytler's definitely more high-end. And there is also this like conversation as well about the rules around rucks, like stoppages in general changing with like last touch. There's a genuine conversation that could be coming in the next couple of years, which would push teams... It would reduce the amount of stoppages drastically, and it would push teams into these types of rucks. These running ruckmen.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would only bode well for someone like Duff-Tytler, who is, he could be an oversized midfielder.
Yep.
I don't think he'd be a dominant tap ruckman.
But he might not need to be at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he could be a high volume, athletic midfielder in a way.
Yes. And I think at that point, if you're thinking about it like that, I mean, for starters, I think West Coast, that probably brings him into the fray even more for West Coast as well. But I think it'd be tricky for a Richmond to let him go at that point. So I would be saying then Dersma and Cooper Duff Tyler for the Tigers. Any objections?
No, because I think that's what people would expect West Coast to do. I just don't think it will happen that way.
Yep.
So who we got on the thing? I have an old order in front of me here.
You got an old order. So then we come into
Essendon's 2 picks. Is that right?
Yes.
God.
Correct.
I might throw in a bid for Dylan Patterson here just to get that out of the way.
Yep.
Would you agree that that is a justifiable selection?
Absolutely. So I had West Coast bidding on Yuland and Richmond bidding on Patterson.
Yeah.
So makes total sense.
Then I think the next pick. So do I have 2 picks in a row for Essendon? We will go one each.
Not in a row.
Okay. All right. We'll go one each. So if I have 1 pick here for Essendon, well, I need to get in the head of Essendon here and know who's coming next. How many picks in between my next pick?
3.
Right. Okay. I will go safe and go. No, I'm going to go Javan Philippou.
He's going bang.
I am. You know what? Changed my mind at the last second. I was like, halfback flankers. Josh Lindsay, his ceiling is probably like a quality halfback flanker. But then I think at Essendon, is that really a problem for them? Not really. I think they would much rather a dynamic forward midfielder. It's riskier because Josh Lindsay is probably that safer option. He's probably like that guaranteed 200-game player.
Do you want to hear who I had?
Yes.
I had Oliver Greaves.
Yeah, I sort of justified it thinking Greaves might be available a little bit later, but I've rolled the dice on that one.
And granted, on mine, I actually had Richmond taking Lindsay at 6, which changes things a little bit there too.
That's true. Well, right as I was about to say Lindsay, I thought of Archie Roberts. I thought of Andrew McGrath.
Zach Johnson.
Luwaman Lawal. Yeah, there's a few options here. I don't think they need to.
They're not to the same quality, but...
No, agreed. Absolutely.
It's a factor. I feel like similar to what we talked about with West Coast and that first possession midfielder, again in a draft with not a lot of necessarily bankable, fully rounded players like there was last year in the top end with midfielders when you wanted to take that more risk option.
Yep.
Oliver Greaves feels pretty bankable to me. And when Essendon's currently their 2 best first possession players are Darcy Parish, who's played 3 games. And I don't really know where he's at career-wise. He's also not at that 180 centimetre guy. He's not sort of the archetypical first possession player that teams are going for now.
That's true.
The other one that's doing it for them is Cordwell more consistently. And he's probably more of your second string defensive type midfielder usually. Mm-hmm. He plays that sort of defensive role as well. So I feel like they do long for that sort of big bodied mid.
I don't disagree with the logic there. I just think that Philippou, if you've got 2 picks in the top 10, I reckon go risky with one of them. And I think specifically in Essendon's position, I think there is some appetite for going for the higher end prospect. I feel like they've got a lot of good, decent prospects. A couple of them could elevate to be better than that. Nate Caddy, probably, I wouldn't put too much of a ceiling on the guy. But I feel like for where they're at, they've laid a lot of the groundwork with a lot of players that you think will be decent players over time, but they need some match winners. And I think Philippou Jr. is probably more of that than, say, an Ollie Greaves.
I was doing some full nerd out stuff last night and I started looking at Jevon Philippou's he's a national decathlete.
Yeah, I saw that in your video.
Yeah. So I was looking at some of the stuff. He's his best, which sort of surprised me a little bit. His best results were in the throwing type sports. So shot put. Yeah. He won that.
Discus?
I can't remember if discus, javelin. He was first in javelin.
Okay, yeah, right.
And he also won the pole vault.
Well, that is partly his name if you take out the L.
Jesse's here all week.
Yeah. Just subscribe.
It was crazy though. But his 1,500 meters was around 4 minutes, I think. And if you sort of extrapolate that out to the 2K...
That's a 4-minute mile, basically.
Yeah. It's really...
1.6.
It was a bit over 4 minutes, but it was really, really quick. He was good at that as well.
Wow.
He's definitely in this crop, he missed champs, which makes him a little bit riskier, but he's definitely the most high upside, exciting player. Can kick off both feet. really technical around stoppages and stuff like that. Just fun to watch as well. If you need that, I feel like Essendon could go for that. So I think that works.
So we just got a couple of comments here. So Angus Heasley is campaigning for Lindsay first. That's fair. I won't argue too much against that. Wooden Spoon Data says Lindsay or Grill. I don't agree on Grill.
Okay.
I would go Philippou before Grill. I love Grill. I actually really do like him, but I don't think you go too early on a player like that. We touched on that last time.
Angus Heasley says Philippou will 100% be available at the Bombers' next pick.
Well, yeah.
Would the Saints overlook Philippou?
Yeah, that's what I mean. When you said there's 3 selections in between, I thought I'd rather take the risk on him.
I also think Hawthorn would take Philippou.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the exact sort of player that they'd be after. Mm-hmm. So I would go against you. And I think you'll see Philippou rise up a lot of draft boards in the back half of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've gone Philippou there, which leaves Greaves on the board. So what does St Kilda do then? That's me.
Yeah. We should probably be keeping track of who's been taken. Let me do that.
It's difficult, yeah. I'll have a bid here. Like Saints will definitely bid on someone too.
Who we got left? Well, there's Annabelle.
Annabelle.
Yeah, okay.
I'll bid on Annabelle.
Yeah, well, they'll match that.
He's definitely amongst the sort of top 7 or 8 players in this draft for sure. Now, this is tricky. So you've got Philippou, you've got Nas, a lot of excitement. I still think that they could, kind of depends what they see Windhager's role. Do you see Windhager as a defensive role-playing midfielder, or do you see him as that bull, big-bodied mid? Because I feel like you could probably get away with not going for a Greaves if you see him as that player. If you see him as more of a role player, tagging and things like that.
The Saints were talked about as needing that big-bodied mid last year. They were all over Smiley, apparently. And then they go bang to, well, there's Travalia and Taru. Yes, he was.
Smiley was gone.
You're right, sorry. But they still went for 2 defenders.
They did,
which was curious.
They were the 2 players that they were most attached to outside of the players that they went for were Smiley and Lindsay. And then went for... Apparently they had a bit of a thing for Bo Allen. But obviously didn't go down that.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was fake noise because he slid to 16. So
yeah, exactly. And he's from WA, so it was probably less likely than likely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now when you look at the options ahead of them, they probably did the right thing last year going for the types of players that they did because there'll be a few midfielders around. I think I'm going to go for Greaves.
Okay.
Yeah, Angus Heasley said, didn't they have Windhager out of that team presentation?
Yes, that's right. As we talked about, where they famously called him Winderlick.
Winderlick, yeah. That was definitely reputable information. Definitely. But no, I like those kind of little insights. But I still do think that they could use that big-bodied guy as well, like first possession player. And Greaves is that. Well-performed at champs.
Yeah.
Very consistent. I think he'll come in and hit the ground running as well, so he can sort of give them some instant lift. I think if they missed Philippou, it's probably who they'd be looking for.
So we've gone Sharpen coming to West Coast, then Yuland for the bid for Gold Coast, then Dersma, Duff Tytler for Richmond, paired up.
Yep.
I think we said that Gold Coast picked 6 for Dylan Patterson with a match from Essendon, or the other way around. Gold Coast matched a bid from Essendon. Essendon then took Jevon Philippou at 7.
Yep.
And St Kilda took Ollie Greaves at 8. Who do we have next? You're running the order.
I'm running the order, and we have Hawthorn.
Hawthorn have...
Which is Carlton's pick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they anticipated Josh Lindsay being on the board, and I do wonder if he is too good to pass up, if I'm being completely honest. The other options would include someone like a Mitch Marsh, who is sort of like an undersized tall forward.
Gunston replacement.
Yeah. I think they go Josh Lindsay. I think that he is just too good and too safe to pass up, is my choice there. I think, I mean, he's kind of like that old school Hawthorn player who could just open up the play with his left foot.
He reminds me of Clarko era Hawthorn in a way.
Exactly.
Birchall and Guerra, all of those sort of... who's the other one?
Oh, Stewie Dew was probably one of that. Yeah, Suckling.
Yeah.
Was there another one?
They had so many halfback flankers.
Yeah, they did.
The only thing that I would say...
Clinton Young?
Oh, Clinton Young as well. Yeah, he's more of a winger, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Xavier Ellis even.
Yeah.
On the other wing, probably. The only thing against that is he would come in and hit the ground running, I think, Lindsay, and could probably play for them straight away. But do they have like too many of the same types? Because they probably have quite a...
I was thinking D'Ambrosio was like probably...
They've got D'Ambrosio as that sort of wing option. They've got Amon. They've got Impey. Even, and then like a lot of those like taller guys are kickers as well, like Weddle. So they've probably don't need a distributor right now. It doesn't mean that they won't go for him. They might just go, like you said, bankable, safe. I'll have him, please.
I think there's enough of a gap in terms of probability of being good between Lindsay and Mitch Marsh. I don't think Hawthorn leave him on the board here. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but the likelihood that Josh Lindsay becomes a good player and his attributes suit something that is Hawthorn-esque, a more Clarko era for sure, but I think those traits never really go out of fashion. That quality ball user who can open up the play.
Any chance they swing for a Sam Grill with probably more credentialed in the midfield?
Possibly. I would prefer Lindsay for him. Just that's probably personal preference coming into it. I think, again, higher floor probably. Grill is probably the most compelling alternative you could offer to me right now.
He definitely works for them.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna go Lindsay. Given that
go for it.
Amon and Impey must be sort of late 20s now. There's some transition over there that's going to happen, and I think Lindsay is too good to pass up here. We've left him pretty late, to be honest.
I like it. It's then Carlton with that compensation for Tom De Koning.
What do you think we do here? Because this is almost certainly going to become a pick that is matched for Harry Dean?
Yeah. So what I kind of propose is that we trade this pick to Melbourne for a future first.
Doing trades.
We trade it to Melbourne for a future first.
You're the boss.
I mean, it kind of, I don't know, Melbourne probably be around that position on the ladder. It gets them into this year's draft.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose nobody loses out in terms of this mock draft. Carlton are getting Harry Dean.
They'll get Dean. They survive the pick.
Do you think though that any of these teams we've picked first here for Carlton would have actually bid on Harry Dean? Maybe St Kilda?
No, they wouldn't.
You don't reckon St Kilda would have bid on Harry Dean?
No, St Kilda will bid on one of the Northern Academy players.
True.
They'll bid on. I reckon Yuland and Patterson will already be bid on.
Yeah, so
and then
Annabelle.
Saints will bid on Annabelle.
Oh, did you actually do that? Because I didn't write it down here.
Yeah, but it's fine. Yeah.
No. We're gonna keep.
Yeah. Annabelle, throw him in there.
Yeah. All right.
Annabelle's like a top 6 or 7 player in this draft as well. Like they're very strong. I don't think the bid will come, but as we saw with Essendon last year with Kako and holding, I think pick 9 the Bombers had. Kako went around pick 13 or 14 off the top of my head.
I think so. Yeah.
And they still traded the pick.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's
like
true.
if it's there, someone will.
It's not really worth the risk when you can get value.
Exactly. So you just trade into next year.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So. Or try to get more points perhaps in the draft. But I think most would want to trade into the following year's draft.
Yeah. I think Melbourne is a good candidate here. They don't hold a first rounder. And Carlton have all the reason to do this trade. So I would say, yes, let's go to the Melbourne Footy Club. It's your pick, isn't it?
It is. So who do I take for Melbourne? Because initially at this pick, I had them taking Sam Cumming.
And boy, does he.
Boy, does he. The ones that are jumping out to me right now off the top of my head are either Sam Grill or Jacob Farrow. But at the same time, they're probably more of a team that are in the market for a key position forward.
Mm-hmm. I have a player in mind.
Mitch Marsh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
For them specifically.
What do you think about Marsh's prospects as an actual key forward, given he is only 190 centimetres? Do you think he becomes that at the next level?
That's my only concern with him. So I did a recent a draft rankings and I had Mitch Marsh ranked 15. I haven't actually released that second part, so I'm probably spoiling a bit there.
Woo!
But I had him at 15. And one of the reasons being the way that he kicks his goals and gets into the game is more from his speed. So he's like leading at the football. And he's really good by foot. When he gets the ball, he's really good at like turning and hitting targets inside 50. So he's almost in a way, he's playing as more of like a high forward that gets into the game like a midfielder does. He's not really taking contested marks, albeit when he's one-on-one and he gets like isolated, he can kind of test players. But he's not a big physical specimen at the moment. So you're not kind of... I do wonder a little bit at his height and with his physicality, it's like, are you getting enough there? Are you getting this kind of weird third tall hybridy player that doesn't fully kill it at anything?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, 100%. Yeah. So
Melbourne
having
will have
said
him.
that, all that, yeah, you can have a Melbourne. What are the strengths of Mitch Marsh then, I guess?
I think his biggest weapon is athleticism. So like speed is big. The amount of times at the champs that he lost his opponent and just got out and got onto the lead. And it's always hard to judge those key forwards in good teams. And he wasn't a good, well-oiled machine in South Australia. Like they were hitting him up really well. His biggest, I would say his biggest weapon in that position is when he gets the ball, what he can do with it from there.
Yeah.
But hitting other players inside forward 50, he's elite.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Player comparison, if you had to think of one?
When I watched him aesthetically, the player that he reminded me of was Aaron Cadman.
Wow.
But he's a little bit smaller than Cadman.
Yes, yeah.
So, again, probably size-wise, he's more of that Gunston, that sort of size, but looks like he's got the left foot and almost like an identical kicking action to Aaron Cadman.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he's a talented player from what I've seen. I suppose the question mark that I always had was position. And we've had these conversations both on and off air about I do discriminate on position.
It certainly would it would help him if he was a bit taller.
Yeah.
But yeah. At the end of the day, when you look at the players, like if you look at Caddy and you look at Morris, they're about the same height.
Yeah.
So
yeah, okay.
That's kind of what you're looking at. You wouldn't turn up your nose at those guys.
No, I mean, Jake Waterman, All-Australian, 190 centimetres. He's shorter than Brady Hoff.
Exactly. So I think it's going to come down to like that mark. If he can mark the footy, he's going to be a threat.
Exactly. Who have we got next, Dylan?
Next we have...
We're up to pick 12 now.
We've taken Hawthorn, we've taken Melbourne. We have Essendon on the board again.
Okay, so we've given them Jevan Philippou. You took Greaves. Man. There's a few options here. I mean, we could go bids. Well, there's really only Max King rather.
Sam Grill is still on the board.
I am thinking about Sam Grill, but I just want to see if I'm missing anyone here. Do they need a tall forward?
I don't think so.
Not really. No, they've just drafted like Archer May and
the only question with those talls, I think, is like, do you think they're good enough? Like that would be the question. They've got enough.
They've got the quantity.
Yes.
Because there are some talls here, but without knowing off the top of my head their later picks, it's a little bit hard to. They'd probably back themselves in to, pick up one in the second round if assuming they have a pick for it, like Emmets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So having said all that, I'm going to go Sam Grill. Again, we're going high upside with Essendon here just to diversify what they've got and a really damaging outside player who can, obviously hurt oppositions with his ball use. Oppositions, plural. I think there's a lot of upside here with Grill. I think what hurts his ranking is probably... we talked about it. We sort of had a different opinion. I said contested game, and you pointed out that we get loose balls, which are considered contested possessions. But having said all that...
He's not the best contested player. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, he's not like perfectly well-rounded midfielder, but he is someone who I think can hurt the opposition.
He did play VFL today for Richmond.
Okay.
20 disposals.
Yeah, nice.
Did well at that
so
level.
The ability to find the footy at that level is something that bodes well for him. So I'm going to lock him here into Essendon's selection. Is that a real bargain here? It was pick 12 actually.
I think it's quite good.
Yeah.
For the quality of Sam Grill. I think when you look at if they did, how this has panned out for us, they've gone Jevan Philippou
and Sam Grill. I've gone real risky with them.
Yeah, it's real risky, like really high upside. High octane type footballers, both really high end speed, good runners, and probably when you look at their midfield, guys like Durham, Cordwell, Parrish, Merritt, not a highly athletic midfield, is it? So that gives some real athleticism.
Yeah, that was kind of my logic as well. And someone like a Sardis is somebody they spent a high draft pick on and sort of languishing. So I feel like, and Perkins was a real high upside player that probably hasn't developed quite into the player that they thought he would be, like a real game changer.
No.
So I still think that they can add those types. So look, I've gone a little bit risky. Maybe they go one risky pick, one Ollie Greaves, for instance. But
it's gonna, at the end of the day, it comes down to what's there though as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
There's a lot of knocks on so many different prospects this year.
Exactly. So then we have the pick here, right? And this, I didn't really know what to do with this for now. It's a Gold Coast pick, but
Should we say it's absorbed?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just saying it's absorbed with points.
Cool.
And then we get to Sydney, who I've got trading the pick in a similar fashion to Carlton because of the fact they have the Max King bid coming. So they'll be susceptible to losing that. I've got them trading with Port Adelaide.
Yeah,
or another team that don't have a first round pick, traded it to the Gold Coast in that deal last year.
I like that. Includes the teams that are missing out at the moment.
Yeah, and the team that the player that I had them going for initially was Mitch Marsh, and I think I'm probably just going to throw it over to Aiden Schubert.
Ooh, I like that.
That was my pick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Local boy. You could probably argue that they would. I think the Mitch Marsh pick worked better for Port Adelaide because of the fact he's a bit more of a versatile, tall, like that third key position player. What do they got there currently? They've got Georgiades. Is Todd Marshall good enough? I think that's a question. They do have Lukosius as well, don't they? And then they drafted Jack Whitlock. So
Ollie Lord as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few options there.
I'm actually going to change this.
Well, it's locked in. I've written it into Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, we can change this.
We can
I'm going to go
change it.
Jacob Farrow.
I don't know why I'm disappointed. Maybe because I was hoping he would end up at West Coast, but that's not probably going to be an issue here.
Jacob Farrow.
Yeah.
Currently, as it stands, he's more of a intercept defender, distributing defender, 190 centimetre mark-ish.
Yep.
The projection would be, and he played a couple of games fleetingly in the midfield for the Western Australian team, and he does for West Perth as well when he's playing there. The upside would be like a Jordan Dawson, Hayden Young-esque type player, very strong around the ball and has a beautiful left foot kick. So that's kind of what you're buying into. I think floor-wise, you're looking at a good interceptor distributor, and ceiling, you're looking at a midfielder that can go in and win the ball as well.
For sure. Who do we have next?
Next on the mark, after Port Adelaide trading in, we have Western Bulldogs.
That's exactly who I had next year. I'm going to bid on Harry Dean. So easy to make the Charlie Dean mistake. I've done that before. Yeah. So
We've all been
I think
there.
they're a team that could. Yeah, they're in a position to draft a key defender, hypothetically, to justify why they would bid on him.
Yeah, well, I had them drafting a key defender.
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So with that being said, maybe Xavier Taylor is the option here. He's probably a little bit undersized.
That's what I had.
Yeah, cool. Because I mean, looking through the prospects of key defenders, there's not a plethora of highly rated key defenders here. You're more likely to pick up like project players, but 191 centimeters. And look, the Bulldogs have Buslinger waiting in the ranks, and that's a pretty good start. And O'Donnell, I think, has talent, but it's been a bit of a makeshift sort of backline with Rory Lobb spending time back there. Liam Jones, would have to be finishing soon. Taylor's probably going to take some time, but I think the Bulldogs are not going to draft key forwards, and they're not going to draft probably even, they could go midfield, but I think with Xavier Taylor here, there's a greater need. Would you agree?
If you look at what I think he's absolutely perfect for them. I think if you look at what they drafted last year, Cooper Hines, a mid-forward type player, Josh Dolan, they drafted, and then they drafted, the only one that's like a similar type maybe is Lockie Jakes. Again, that sort of medium defender, but I think Taylor's a little bit more high-end than a Lockie Jakes. And what he gives you for the Western Bulldogs in the short term is the fact that he can actually distribute the ball as well. So you're not looking at that player. Who have they got? Bramble. I always talk about Bramble and bloody... Who's the other one back there for them that's...
Durea.
Nah.
No, there's more.
God, I can't think of Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Baker and Bramble.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't play. Baker doesn't play all the time, but they need another distributor back there. Even Johannesson, like he's quite old now. He's aging out. He's not really the force that he was earlier in his career. So more players back there that can actually kick, I think is really going to help their game overall. And the fact that Taylor then has the ability later on to be like a key player, which he probably won't be early on because he won't be physically developed enough. So you can sort of use him in multifunctional ways. A bit similar. I think there's similarities between Taylor and Trainer.
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of what Trainer's doing right now for Richmond. He's more of a distributor than a key.
And so for that point of view, you could probably impact earlier. Like if he's given a more unaccountable intercept role.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who we got next?
My phone keeps dying here. We've got GWS.
GWS. Oh, they can really buck a trend or two, can't they?
They love to buck a trend.
They can subvert expectations like a Game of Thrones script writing team.
I've got the Giants going the first out-and-out winger in this draft in Harley Barker.
Ooh.
A big fan of Harley
I like
Barker.
that. A player who's done an ACL.
He has done an ACL. We saw last year that clubs weren't too scared off that with Taj Houghton.
Yes.
It's funny how that does turn clubs off so much and a player can slide so heavily with an ACL. But then you look at Taj Houghton, ended up playing a game before Josh Smiley.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's crazy. But Barker is an athlete again. Like I think he's first and foremost, he is a footballer. So he has good technical ability. His kicking's quite good, but he is a serious athlete. 2.87 20-meter sprint.
Yeah, wow.
Absolutely rapid.
That is rapid, yeah.
Yeah, and good endurance as well. So, like, he was pretty much I think he was a major part of South Australia's push at the champs because you didn't really have anyone physically equipped to be able to go with him from any of the other states. Pushes forward. He's a bit of an Ollie Dempsey, if you want to play a comparison from the AFL. Aerially, really good. Tidy skills on the ball. Good creative handballing and stuff like that when he gets into those, like, transition chains. Can kind of think quickly on his feet to be able to get other players in and then kicks goals when he goes forward. So I think for a team like the Giants who already have a pretty established midfield, he could actually... I think Giants tend to want to develop players anyway, and I think Harley Barker kind of fits that, but in a couple of years could be impacting.
I think that the Giants' philosophy really has been to pick players on type but also talent. So it's just like, yes, that guy's talented, let's get him in.
Yeah.
But there's been a real trend of these smaller dynamic types. So we've talked about this as well. Like in an era where they took Darcy Jones and then they took Phoenix Goddard. And that was a team that already had Toby Green and Brent Daniels in it. And I'm probably missing others. Toby Bedford's been traded in. Ollie Hannaford last year. I know that Barker's not the same player, but...
Who's
Harvey Thomas was
Harvey
another one.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was later, so he wasn't a high pick. But Ollie Hannaford last year, you said... they absolutely love those contest winners.
I realise that Harley Barker's not the same, but the setup that I'm making here is that they kind of just pick the guys that they think are talented and will fit the system, is what I'm thinking.
Like player for position, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I could see them, therefore, being a team that would like Harley Barker, who has a lot of upside, and they're in a position to take some risks, I think, in the draft, whereas,
because of their talent.
Exactly. Whereas some teams, including most especially my own, would be more risk averse, hence why I took two picks that people won't like.
I think for like GWS, they don't need to go, we're going to take this bankable midfielder.
Yeah.
Because we don't even need him to play for 3 years.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's kind of my thing.
Exactly right.
Freo. Yeah. You get to pick for Freo. I'm going
to take Matthew Owies as a listed free agent. This is a tough one. What do Fremantle need? I actually think that there's a fairly good balance to their team, and therefore, they're not a team that needs a key forward, needs a key back, or even needs midfielders. I suppose you could say like replenishing the midfield. Thanks, mate. Would be great. I mean, Jacob Farrow would be a player that I think makes sense. Exactly right. I'm going to go best available here, and it's not dissimilar to Murphy Reid last year. Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves is still on the board, and I think is too talented to pass up. Now, how does he fit into a Fremantle side that is established, has Murphy Reid playing a similar role as that sort of forward half creative player, very technically proficient, can make things happen when he's got the footy. Hibbins-Hargreaves production is probably the question mark, which
definitely.
I imagine is the case here. But imagine like
another guy at West Coast to come in and not find the footy.
exactly, give him to Fremantle this time. But like I think in terms of talent, like he reminds me a little bit of Sheasel, but if Sheasel had trouble finding the footy.
Yeah.
But there is still some upside there. So I think Fremantle could be in a position to take the punt on a Hibbins-Hargreaves. Do you have any objections to that?
I don't have any objections. I find Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves the most enigmatic player in this draft. Because, like last year I was really into Finn O'Sullivan and he had a bit of a production problem, not a massive one, but at Champs, there's some reasons for that with like injury, but he wasn't like a really high volume player. But I could really read what he was doing, you know what I mean? Like you could kind of see it.
Yeah.
You can see like where the problems are. I don't know why Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves doesn't find the ball. He just sort of doesn't. I don't know. He just sort of drifts through games and I'm like, I can't really quite put my finger on why. I'm not sure if it's a competitiveness thing, sort of an intensity thing. But when he does get an opportunity, like when he does get on the ball, something happens.
Yeah.
But it's almost so fleeting. Like I think in his one of his Champs games, he had like 5 touches, and it's almost like how does that happen with the talent that he has?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I suppose the argument for a strong team taking him, like Fremantle will be a strong team next year, you'd imagine. Like he's the sort of guy you could probably put into that team. Let's say it's round 18 and he makes a debut and he can make something happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of maybe a silly argument to make, but
I really think with him overall in the draft, this is a different conversation really to the mock draft, but it'll kind of come down to with him how clubs see his character. I think he's going to be a massive character pick. And if they think he actually has a really good character, you could be looking at close to the top 10.
Yeah.
Whereas if they don't really rate, they don't find him as competitive enough or whatnot, I think he could be a big slider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think it's some players will get by on their talent alone. Yeah. And he has the talent, but he doesn't have the production. Therefore, I agree that his interviews could swing it.
West Coast are next.
You're kidding me.
So
I'll let you go because
give me this
your
one.
pick. But I actually wouldn't have a clear answer here.
I think the talent pick here would be Archie Ludovic, but I don't think West Coast.
Is that how you say it? I thought it was Ludovic.
Yeah.
I also read it as Ludowick, but Ludovic sounds more correct. But then I'm like, is it Ludovic like Ludwig van Beethoven?
Is
that his name?
Yeah.
Nice.
Ludwig.
Ludwig. Is it Van Beethoven? No, it's not.
No.
I mean, his surname is this is a tangent. Ludwig? Is it just Ludwig Beethoven?
Ludwig. Not Ludwig. Ludwig.
Yeah, it's a different name completely. It's a different name completely. Yeah. But I'm going to find out. You keep talking and I'm going to find out Beethoven's name.
Okay, so for West Coast at pick 19, I have gone...
It's Ludwig van Beethoven. Continue.
Beautiful.
Thanks, man.
1770 to 1827, the German composer.
Good inside mid back in his day.
Taylor Byrne. Bolter.
Yeah.
Small forward in a similar mould.
I love this selection, actually.
Yeah, similar mould to Oliver Hannaford. And I think you were a big fan of him last year.
I am a Hannaford man.
Goal sneak, good runner, good speed, a little bastard.
Nice.
He's got that dog in him.
Yeah, sweet.
To use that phrase again.
That poor dog.
Yeah. He... Probably Hannaford played a little bit on ball, but Byrne has been a high production midfielder in the Coates Talent League this season.
Okay.
Like averaging 20 plus disposals, seems to find a way to hit the scoreboard playing from the midfield as well. Champs, he's a standalone small forward. Kicks 5 goals in the last game against Vic Metro, which they won. That was their best performance. Kicked 3 or 4 in the previous game, which was him finding his feet. He only came into the team in the second game, so he missed the first game. Came in, was quiet in the first one. Second game, hits the ground running. He's a tackle, pressure, speed, power type guy that seems to be able to run and find the ball. He's just a clever footballer, and I think he's got a lot of development in him. And his nous around goal is probably the thing that makes him special in this crop, I think.
I love that. One thing you've kind of swayed me on in our time being friends, Dylan, is the idea that, we've had this discussion about West Coast picking small forwards, and my argument, which I still kind of stand by the logic, is that West Coast, we have a lot of them, and we also have an academy part pumping out prospects down the line. And I think historically you can find good small forwards later in the draft. So my logic is that you don't allocate top-end resources to them. But I have been looking at our small forward prospects lately, all the ones in the team, like your Noah Longs, your Tyler Brockmans. None of them are terrible players, but gee, it would be nice to have a real game changer in there. And so with Wes Wally also probably not having the year that we would have loved from a caddy point of view, I am now really open to the idea that we can go small, maybe not with pick 1 or 2, but if we can find a really quality Hannaford-esque small forward in that first round, I think I would jump at it, to be honest.
I think as well in this draft where it isn't it's not the deepest draft, it's probably not even the strongest at the top end. So you kind of, you can look for those little gems as well, players like that. But I also do think, like, talk about game trends and stuff like that. And that player that was that sort of, probably the best player on your team 10 years ago was like a contested inside midfielder, right? Whereas now it's a little bit more of that like transitional midfielder. The guys, you almost like can implant those contested ball winners. The contest happens outside the stoppage in a way. Like you put them in the forward half of the ground. Like if you're transitioning the ball or you're winning a clearance, you're going to have to win contested possession in the forward half of the ground. So you need guys that can do that.
Yeah.
And then if you extrapolate that over all the teams, like which teams are going to have the biggest killers inside forward 50? Like who's going to be a clutch player? Who's going to have those finite opportunities that you're going to get? Who's going to kick the goals? So I think it makes sense to actually invest in these guys.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I feel like small forwards are more prominent now as game changers than they were probably at any point in this game's history.
Yeah,
Isaac Rankin. I know he's not really a small forward. It's reductive to call Isaac Rankin a small forward, and that's probably true of Cozzy Pickett. But that's the sort of style of player that you draft. You know, maybe someone who can impact at stoppages and in the midfield, but also take their opportunities in the forward half. So
yeah. And if you went back to the drafts of those players, like I can't remember the exact draft that those two players were in, but you'd probably take them in the top 3-4 players in the draft.
Yeah,
I'd imagine
both top 12 picks. To be fair,
yeah.
Rankin was Rankin 3. Rankin was 3.
Rankin was
Pickett
high,
was
actually.
like 11 or 12.
Yeah. But
that's true. Yeah,
I can't remember who the number 1 pick in that draft was, but you'd probably be looking at Pickett as one of them.
It was Lukosius and Rankin.
I'm taking.
Were they picked?
Cozzy Pickett over Lukosius.
Was Lukosius pick 1? No, 2018.
He was 2.
Walsh was pick 1.
I'm taking Pickett over Walsh.
No, sorry. Pickett was 2019. So that's Rowland Anderson. Rankin was 2018, which was Walsh, Lukosius. I'd take Rankin over Walsh and Lukosius.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pickett, I don't know. Or maybe it's justifiable, but Noah Anderson's probably the number 1 pick.
No, Noah Anderson would be one.
Even
for
Luke
me.
Jackson also lays claim.
Yeah, that's a nice.
Maybe
nice
we'll do
draft.
that next week. Yeah,
yeah, and I think like what you've done with West Coast with picking Dyson Sharp and we went with
Sam
Durst.
Cumming.
Oh, you meant Sam Cumming. Sorry, but the Dyson Sharp piece there. What I was going for with Willem Dersma is like Willem Dersma's your Noah Anderson.
Yeah,
and Dyson Sharp's your Matt Rowell.
Do you think Willem Dersma can be Noah Anderson?
There's a world.
I feel like he's an intercept defender. I don't know. You're the talent man out of us.
He's shown a capacity to play well in the midfield.
Yeah.
Not like as a clearance beast, but he doesn't have to be a clearance beast.
Yeah.
I feel.
No, fair enough.
We will see. Time will tell.
It's clear what my opinion is.
Pick 20 is Gold Coast Eton again. It's Eton picks there.
God.
Geelong. It's a hard team.
Geelong Footy Club. I could really just pick anyone. He's going to be a gun. Let me just take stock of who I've got available here. What are Geelong's needs? If you could furnish me with their needs, that would be amazing. I don't think there's any clear needs. Like I think their midfield's come a long way.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if there was probably a clear need, it's a first possession mid.
Yeah.
Because they've got Holmes and Bailey Smith as those really dynamic players. So I think kind of the players that do that currently are either Dangerfield when he's in there. He's a clearance monster. Tom Atkins a little bit. And the George Stevens is the one.
Yeah.
More of like a defensive mid, I would say, long term. So
I suppose there are question marks over young Tanner Brunn as well, which I think would probably come into calculations in real time.
Jack Bowes hasn't really done it as an inside mid.
Yeah.
Probably gone into more of like a smaller defender as well.
We haven't bid on Max King yet.
Haven't we?
No.
I think there's a world, to be honest, that it doesn't come until around here anyway. So
I was also going to consider Adensall here, but let's make it a bit more interesting. This is pick 19? Yeah, it's pick 19. So I will just take a player.
I'm going to give you a little hint here because Joel Falconer, this is who I had as well. And it's been a bit lazy, I suppose, but Hunter Holmes, Max Holmes' brother.
Do you think he goes in the first 20? First pick for Geelong? I considered it, but...
There's a chance. Like, he's got a lot of trait. He's pretty raw. He's pretty raw, so...
I'll tell you the two players I'm considering here. Because Geelong, I don't think necessarily just pick the need. I think they go for the talent. So the need, Fred Rodriguez came into my considerations here as an actual midfielder.
Yeah,
this is his range.
As a need.
Fairly well performed.
I don't think they would do that.
I don't think it's a Geelong pick.
Nah.
Lockie Doverston. On talent, yes. Positional need, maybe not.
I don't hate that. That actually works. I mean, what are their small forward ranks at the moment? They got like Myers. Stengel's he's more that like deep guy, isn't he? Myers is a high.
It feels like more of a Geelong pick.
Who's the Werribee guy? Manor, Manor's the other one too, isn't he? So
Wayne.
No, that works. Yeah, that works.
I'll go Doverston.
Yeah,
Lockie Doverston, small forward. I actually don't know a whole heap about him, so if you can tell me a little bit about him, that'd be amazing.
I would say that, like, just to kind of get it out there really quickly, he's a Nick Watson, but he's not as good. Mm-hmm. Not as many tricks as Watson.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't have the pace as well, running back to goal. But he's that sort of a player. Like, give him a bit of space, very clean, below his knees, like a good small forward. Draws a lot of high free kicks.
Yeah.
And he's just a bit of a pest, and he's a bit of a bastard at the opposition. So he's kind of a classic small forward.
Yeah, real Hawthorn type selection.
Yeah. He's even got the same sort of like mullet type setup going on.
Yeah,
but nice, I think I don't think he's as high a level as Watson.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Okay, you have the final selection of this mock draft if we're doing to 20.
I have the final selection, which is the Adelaide Crows.
Oof.
I found them quite difficult to draft for as well. Players for me in this range were Max Kondagiannis.
I've literally never heard of that bloke in my life.
He's a hybrid defender.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Kerry Grammer, Big Metro.
Yeah.
Similar to Xavier Taylor.
Okay.
Kind of similar roles there.
Nice.
Louis Emmett's in the fray.
Yeah, Riley Onley. For the Adelaide Crows, do we have any specific needs? Again, not really a team.
You're not really going talls, are you?
Nah, I wouldn't have thought so.
I'm going to go Riley Onley there.
Really?
Yeah. Riley Onley's
Is he a better player than Fred Rodriguez?
He's not a better player now, but he's 194 centimetres.
Yeah, true.
And he's quick.
Okay, that was my first question, was how quick is he?
Yeah, he's very explosive.
Yeah, right.
He's like his skills, like technical skills, are like quite poor though, I would say. Mm-hmm. Very funny kicking action, which this season compared to last season, I feel like it's improved significantly with like the targets that he hits. But like you watch players and there's those really aesthetic players like Nasiah Wangan and Miller are kicking the ball. You're like, you're just going to hit this.
Yeah.
There's so much trust.
Yeah. Murphy Reed's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. There's not a great deal of trust for me. Like I'm like, what's going to happen? Like you kind of get that. And then sometimes he pulls it off.
Yeah.
But it's worrying. I would say he's one of those kind of athletic, ball winning. But what he has shown consistently for Bush Rangers and for country is he wins the ball. Like big disposal numbers across the champs, one of their better players. And he does it with a dynamism that is probably lacking overall in the draft. If he had the technical skills, he'd be top 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. That's a little bit higher than I was expecting, but after all, you are the draft man here at True Footy Enterprises.
Time will tell. There's still season, a bit of the end of the season to go. And sometimes with those teams too that are pushing the top of the ladder, it's a little bit difficult to understand what they're going to go for.
Yeah. That's true.
That is our first round mock draft.
Let's do it. So first of all, I will ask everyone to like the video. by the way. That would be very much appreciated for algorithmic purposes.
Bit needy.
Oh, yeah, that's my whole thing. You should see my Tinder profile. But let's look at the top 20 selections that we took in this mock draft. We went Dyson Sharp and Sam Cumming. I think that I will draw all the criticism for that, but that is who I would take. If I'm honest, I'm still iffy about Dyson Sharp, but I would probably go, I don't know. No, let's lock it in.
I'm iffy about his end, like what he is in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
But I'm softening to him with this one of these top 2 selections.
Yeah. I know that this will buck the trend massively on what else is out there, but, whatever. We do this for free. Zeke Yuland is the pick 3 match bid for the Gold Coast Suns, and then Richmond go Dersma and Duff Tytler, followed by another bid for Dylan Patterson with the Gold Coast add 2 top 6 selections. Essendon took Jevan Philippou at pick 7 bit early. Daniel Annabelle went to the Brisbane Lions at pick 8. Ollie Greaves joined St Kilda. They finally get that big-bodied midfielder. And then Hawthorn pick Josh Lindsay, who is too good to pass up at pick 10.
Or so you said.
Yes, I think so. Mitch Marsh takes a little break from his IPL career to join the Melbourne Football Club, and then Sam Grill slides a little bit to pick 12 and the Essendon Footy Club. Jacob Farrow might be a little bit earlier than what else is out there, I would imagine, but he's joined Port Adelaide at pick 13 after a trade. Carlton get their father-son and Harry Dean at 14. Xavier Taylor joins the Western Bulldogs, as a tall defender, 191 centimetres. The GWS Giants take the talented Harley Barker. Fremantle get Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves at pick 17. West Coast, Taylor Byrne, followed by another small forward with Geelong taking Lockie Doverston. And then at pick 20 to round out the top 20, we have Riley Onley joining the Adelaide Crows. Is there any names here that you think, they should have gone? Because I got a couple.
Okay, just let me go back into this quickly. Who have you got?
Well, I would say that the 2 that would probably be close to the next cabs off the rank. Well, first of all, we had 2 academy/father-son. No, they're both academy. Adensall and Max King not bid on. That could change naturally. Yeah. It'd be a bit boring if we just jam-packed it with all the academy picks anyway.
Did Ludovic go?
He didn't go.
Right.
So he'd be one that probably, as it currently stands, you'd expect to go in that top 20, but it's just not the way it played out. And Fred Rodriguez, WA captain, could conceivably go top 20, but this is about his range, so it's not a massive slide.
I think Fred Rodriguez could miss the top 30.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think he's... he's fine.
Yeah.
He's a good player, but he's somebody that I don't think he has like an enormous amount of sort of like AFL attributes.
Okay.
Probably is how I would categorize Rodriguez.
Fair enough.
Who else? So the ones that missed for me, Condagianis.
Yeah.
So that hybrid defender.
No, I've always been a big fan.
Yes. We didn't have Adam Swade, who's the Bombers NGA.
Yep.
Hussein El Ashkar in that same bracket. Thomas Burton of the Western Jets.
I know the name, but I forget who he is.
Yeah, he's like a small, like 180 centimetre mid. I think the size could potentially hold him back. But yeah, good mover, like decent speed, good leadership qualities, like captain of their side. You got players like Zach McCarthy.
I was going to say McCarthy.
He's a Collingwood father-son as
and
well. McGuan's going to be there. I think he'll be a little bit further back.
Sure.
Heatherton.
Yep.
From the Murray Bush Rangers, key position forward.
Yep.
Beginning of the year, he was probably considered a top 10 prospect.
Yep.
But has slid and been out for most of the season with injuries. There's a player at the Western Jets also, Finn Davis, rebounding defender in a similar mould to like Condagianis and Xavier Taylor. I reckon he'll be around that sort of 30 mark as well.
Okay, there you go. So let us know in the comments, guys, what do you think of our mock draft? Obviously, it was quite left wing, and I take full responsibility for throwing it out of whack with my 2 early selections, although you kind of made up for them with Richmond taking Dersma and CDT. So from that point onwards, it was all right. But that was our mock draft. Dylan Alexander is the man to watch on YouTube on both this channel and, of course, his own channel. Dylan, let's just call Dylan Alexander.
It is. We'll be gearing up for the draft, though. A big few months to come up until November. And I think we're looking at streaming it on this channel.
That'd be great.
Draft night 1.
Yeah.
If Jesse's around. So
sick.